Hi everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small. Today we're doing another episode of 3D printing, my adventures in 3D printing. This time we're going to be looking at a different 3D printing designer, one that I really liked, but there's a little explanation involved first. So, I have played Games Workshop games for a long time. I'm an old guy. I started way back in the day. I remember the original 40K miniatures and the original Epic game and the original Blood Bowl. Love them all. The one game I never got into was Fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy. And I don't know why, I prefer science fiction over fantasy or historical over fantasy. I still do. But, so I never really had that desire. I'd much rather prefer guns over swords, for example. Then, Lord of the Rings came out. I did play GW's Lord of the Rings game and enjoyed that quite a bit. And one of our regulars talked me into collecting Age of Sigmar, which I really liked. Now, most of the gaming group that you know on the channel has dove into the Games Workshop's The Old World, which I'm not going to go into the discussion and history of that, but rather than just say they had killed that and brought out Age of Sigmar, and then now they're bringing out Old World to kind of recapture that glory. And a lot of the guys jumped on that bandwagon with 2 feet, and I was kind of digging my heels in and being stubborn and like, meh. I also have another rank and file game, which is the A Song of Ice and Fire game, which I do love. I think they're great rules, beautiful miniatures. So I really didn't see the need, but finally, after Jacob convinced me that I needed to try, so it's like, all right, well, I could spend money to buy GW models, but most of the Old World range for most of the races are old sculpts, 10, 20 years old or further. And they don't look, a lot of them, I won't say all of them, a lot of them don't look that great, especially compared to the modern standards, but they charge a lot for it. So it's like, well, I could do that. And then I kind of pointed up on the GW website the cost, and to do that would run me, I don't know, like a 2,000 point army-ish would be, over $500, closer to $800, just a crazy number. So I did what I always do. I looked to the internet, and I forget if it was a Reddit post or somewhere, but I saw a recommendation for these guys. And this manufacturer is Highlands Miniatures. And they do kind of historical, and you could use these guys for anything. I'm going to use them for Old World, but you could use them for any kind of fantasy game, or these could be historical characters, because these ones I'm collecting are going to be the Empire of Man, which I thought kind of suited me because they have lots of guns, which I like, lots of cannons and artillery. I have no idea, guys, if that's any good. I don't know what the meta is. I'm not really a meta chaser. I didn't look at tournament lists before deciding what to get. But anyway, so I thought Highland Miniatures. Okay, there's many out there that are great, are fantastic, that look great, but these guys really tickled my fancy. I really liked what I saw on My Mini Factory. So they do have a page and a tribes on My Mini Factory where you can sign up. So what I did, and what I like to do when I'm reviewing these 3D STL miniature companies, is if they have a Patreon, join it. Maybe just for a month or two to get an idea of what it is, what it offers. And in this case, it also gave me a discount in buying all these files. So these files weren't free. I had to purchase them, and I purchased them with my own money. This isn't sponsored by Highlands Miniatures at all. And I sat down, and they had a bunch of files for this faction, which is, I forget what it's called. It's like the Suns or something like that. Sunland. Yeah, Sunland. Okay. And so they have a lot of stuff. So I thought, okay, well, let's make this as affordable as we can. So I ended up spending about $70 on STL files, of which you see a selection here. And I probably printing out, now this isn't everything I printed out. I do have some stuff on the painting table, which I'll show you guys in a few, and I've got stuff outside that I'm currently spray painting. So this is maybe about 2/3 or half of what I've got. But, and maybe I've spent about $20–$30 of resin. So I'm probably right at around 100 or a little bit under US dollars on what I've invested in building this army. And you know, so far I've had a really good time. The process of printing these, I printed on my Saturn 8K using Elegoo water washable resin, and I know some people like that, some people hate it, but that's what I had, so that's what I used. And they do come with supported and unsupported models. I did not even try their supported models, just because regardless of the manufacturer, I seem to have trouble with it, and I don't know if my 3D printer is just old or it's the water washable resin, but I just supported everything myself when I printed it. Here you see I've got some pikemen, some great swordsmen, some cavalry with pistols, pistoliers I think they're called in Old World. I've got a steam tank, which I love this model so much more than the GW model with the mast and all that. I've got some handgunners and some crossbowmen, and then the general of my army riding a griffin, which this model I think is fantastic. I love that model. But the yeah, so I supported these all on my own, didn't have any problem. I had a few failures, but considering the quantities I was printing, that's kind of to be expected. You know, if I put 16 guys on a plate with their heads, I think maybe a couple times I had failures on 2 or 3 of them, but not bad. I did shrink these down 90% on the recommendation of one of my friends, because they are advertised as 32 millimeter, and the old you know, the old Warhammer Fantasy stuff's pretty small. I did find this in the garage. This is an old Empire Archer. I don't know how old. It might be from a fantasy starter box or something, or it might be from something else. You know, there was this game where you had this plastic mat you put on the board, and it had a bunch of Citadel miniatures. I forget what that game was called, but I remember it had a cool plastic like castle tower. I don't think this is from that, but it could be. But anyway, I've got this to kind of test my scale, and my guys are a little bit taller than this, but not much, so I think it's a good fit. Overall, I am a little worried about some of these guys, like with the halberdiers, I guess these guys are called. The pikes breaking off, especially with the resin that I used, which can be a little brittle. I have dropped a few of them while I was painting. I haven't broken any yet, but I could see that happening. Otherwise, yeah, I'm in love with the miniatures. The detail is great, and the without being overwhelming. You know, I do have some Cities of Sigmar guys, which I did a video for, and they're really covered with ornamentation and stuff like that. As far as a review for these guys, if you're looking for old world proxies or fantasy proxies, one-page rules, fantasy game, all of those things, these guys are really good. They have multiple races. I think they have dwarves. I think they have elves. The month that I joined, they started releasing basically their wood. They kind of look like Sylvaneth, so they're you know, trees and ents kind of thing, and which looks really cool too. And my daughter, who collects Sylvaneth, might want me to print some of those for her. But overall, I really liked it. The Patreon wasn't, or not Patreon, the tribe wasn't too expensive, and it gives you a 10%, not 10, it gives you a 50% discount on any of their existing files, which is amazing, because like the halberdiers, you know, the big block units that you'll print usually cost $20, so I got them for $10. And like the halberdiers, I printed, I don't know, like 50 of them, 60 of them. Some of the things are a little bit cheaper. You know, I think the steam tank might have been 18. The individual characters are like 6, but when you chop that in half, these things become very affordable. Like I said, I probably spent around $70 with STLs, and I'm very happy with. So we're gonna go switch the camera so we can take a little bit closer look at all the models and show you kind of what I'm thinking for paint schemes. But before that, I did want to just give you my final thought on these miniatures. Yeah, there's nothing bad I can say about them. The sculpts are all great. I haven't seen a single sculpt, at least in this faction, is the one that I've looked at, Sunland, that made me go like, ugh, they're kind of dumb or cheesy or iffy. They all looked really good and have a wide variety. They are a single cast. A lot of them have the head separate, so you could swap out heads. So if you do have the same pose, you know, one guy can have a feather and one guy can just have a regular helmet, and they look different on the tabletop. But I really like them, so do check them out. I'll put a link down in the video description below, so you can check them out. If you do decide to purchase anything from them, tell them All Miniatures Great and Small sent you. Alright, let's break free and take a look at some of these miniatures up close. Alright, we're just going to take a up close look at some of these models so you can see for yourself what they look like. As far as scale, again, here is that original model and my model. So you can see my guy's taller, and again, I printed these at 90%. So this is the paint scheme that I'm going for, something like this. I really like this. It is, so the colors I used were mainly Pro Acryl. I love their jade, so that green is their jade color. And then their pants is also Pro Acryl. But yeah, really nice. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to speed paint these, so I've been experimenting. These did not take that long, so hopefully I should be able to knock them out. I've got a couple of halberdiers here. I haven't painted his pants yet. You can kind of see that for sure. This is an engineer I'm working on. Obviously, I still got a ways to go. This is a special character that they had. It was an exclusive. I picked him up because I thought he was cool. He's got a cool sniper rifle, so you can probably proxy him as a captain or an engineer or something like that. Again, I'm no expert on Old World. If you guys have any suggestions for me, what must-have units I should look at, or suggestions on how to flesh out this collection, I'm all ears. Let me know down in the comment below. Okay, this guy, I haven't glued the commander on yet, so we'll show it to you in parts. That's the commander sculpt. He's got lots of feathers in his head. Then the actual griffin with the wing detail. Just beautiful. I do not like the GW version of this at all. I do have some spots I need to clean up from the supports, but otherwise, man, he turned out really good. Then I've got the steam cannon. I haven't glued this one together, so it's several pieces. I've got a sniper up here, but basically you can kind of see some of this detail. It actually has an interior that unfortunately you will probably never see, but yeah, gorgeous. Hope you enjoyed this review of Highlands Miniatures. I sure did. So anyway, as always, thanks for watching and keep on gaming.